Occasionally, when I get a new student, I ask them how many tenses they think there are in English. Now, I've had some very interesting answers, but the commonest answer is 16. Now, if I then ask, well, how many are there in Polish? Well, the answer is usually 3. Past, present, and future. So I then ask, well, what's the difference between, for example, wracaliśmy and wróciliśmy? And I'm told that one is finished and the other one isn't. So, does that mean that there are 2 past tenses in Polish? Well, that depends upon your viewpoint. You could say that there is 1 past tense, but there are 2 ways of thinking about it. Now, this is really the same as in English. It's just that we have different ways of thinking about it. There are 3 basic tenses in English: past, present, and future, the same as in Polish. Now, in each tense, it is possible to be exact and general, non-exact. Now, you don't really need to know what these tenses are called, as in their grammatical names. When I came to Poland, I would probably have done badly in some English exams because I had no idea what the tenses are called. And I'm still not sure. I don't care. And neither should you. Because knowing what they're called doesn't help you. You do not need to know 4 or 5 different uses for each tense. If you can become comfortable with a few ideas, you'll be able to express yourself in clear, normal English. Now, don't worry about most of the exceptions. If you can be right 80 to 90% of the time, you will be speaking better English than most native speakers. Now, this might sound funny, but it's not a joke. Okay, here we go. The first thing we need to understand is 3 columns: drink, drank, drunk. I was once in a taxi in Warsaw. When the driver heard my Polish, he said, "Oh, pan jest Anglikiem, tak?" "Aha, drink, drank, drunk." I said, "Oh, you speak English?" And he replied, "Słucham?" Now, for some reason, almost everyone in Poland knows these 3 words in English, even if it's the only 3 English words they know. Now, this is important to understand from the very beginning. Every English verb has 3 forms. For example, drink, drank, drunk. Some of them, for example, drink, drank, drunk, are irregular. Some of them are regular. For example, work, worked, worked. But they all have 3 forms and they all work in the same way. Okay, if we put them in a table, it looks like this. The regular ones are easier to learn because column 2 and column 3 are always the same and they always end in d. The irregular ones, they're not as easy, but they all work in the same way. Now, people learning English are often told that there are 2 types of verb in English, regular and irregular, and they work in different ways. This is not true. Regular verbs and irregular verbs work in the same way. Okay, I've told you that 3, maybe 4 times. That's enough. Okay, so the second thing we need to understand is that English has a tense that is not a tense. Now, most people know that in English there are 2 present tenses, the simple and the continuous. However, in English, the present simple is not really a tense because tense is related to time. Past, present or future. But the present simple is not. I eat meat. I don't smoke. She works for an American company. Do you speak Polish? Now, all of these examples use the present simple, but they're general statements. True, false, yes, no. So, if we all go out for a drink on Saturday evening, and I ask you, what do you do? I.e., for whom do you work? Then you might say, for example, I work for IBM, or I'm an actress. Now, how can this be true? You're in a bar, drinking with me. Well, the answer is that for most verbs, the present simple tense is not actually a tense, but a statement of the general truth. So if I ask you in a bar, what are you doing? Then the answer is, I am drinking in a bar with you. So, I drink really means ogólnie piję. But I am drinking really means teraz piję. Now this is the real present tense in English. So, two things you need to know now. First of all, one, if we want to use the real present tense of a verb in English, we need to use to be. So learning the verb to be is very important. Secondly, every English verb starts with to. For example, pracować is to work. Pisać is to write. So, for example, I like to eat breakfast. That's the whole verb. I eat breakfast every day. That is a general statement of truth. Column 1. I am eating breakfast now. This is column 1 with ing. I like to walk. The whole verb to walk. I walk every day. General statement of truth. Column 1. I am walking now. I am, column 1, ing. Now the good news is they all work in the same way. Sorry, did I mention that already? So, you only need to learn one system. The bad news is you still need to learn some irregular verbs. But don't worry, we will identify the ones that you really need, and they are probably the ones you learnt at school. We'll look at each of them separately later on. Okay, so, back to tenses. If I ask you, in a bar, what are you, column 1, ing? Then the answer is, I am, column 1, ing, in a bar with you. What are you doing? I am drinking in a bar with you. What are you doing? I am reading from an autocue. I am standing in a studio. So, I, column 1, is a general statement of truth, but I am, column 1, ing, is the real present tense in English. It means now, at this moment. So let's put this in a picture. Okay, the horizontal line, that is time, with past on the left, future on the right, and the present, that is now, that's the line in the middle. Okay, now above it there's a grey cloud that stretches over the past, present and future. This cloud represents the tense that is not a tense, and it's how we make general statements. I like chocolate. You have a big house. She works in a hospital. They meet every Thursday. If we want to talk specifically about now, we are at the present point on the line, and we need to use the real present tense. I am going. You are driving too fast. He is sleeping. We are drinking.